hips TikTok when I dance on that demon time. I just like Savage is continuously playing in the background of this. Hey you guys, hope everyone is doing well, hope you're safe, hope you're indoors, but you probably don't really have that much of a choice. I didn't really think about how I wanted to open this, but hi, nice to see you. Welcome, glad you're here. Continuing on the theme of making videos that are helping you guys further along in your self-love journey and your path of self-discovery. Today I'm going to touch a little bit on how to be your most authentic self. What are some of the things that I have done to step confidently into my most authentic self? And yeah. Mom, did you call me? I don't even think my mom's home. Oop, just the schizophrenia again. Before I get into the preface of this video, I do want to quickly plug myself. I have a mailing list where I send out weekly/bi-weekly emails every Sunday with different affirmations and journaling prompts that you should be working on in alignment with the astrological weather and also just like what life is bringing forth. This week we have a Scorpio full moon, so if you want to join the mailing list, you can message me on Instagram and I'll add you onto that thing. And if not, then you can just always just subscribe. You can just also just stay on YouTube, you know what I mean? That's just your options. I'm throwing them out there. You do what you want. So let's get into it. In order to be your most authentic self and be confident in your most authentic self, you have to fully and wholeheartedly love yourself. It always just goes back to self-love. In order to fully love yourself, you have to love every layer of yourself. You have to fully go to the depths of your being and love everything that you find. And so a good way to get close to that, or at least start the path on that journey, would be to view yourself in 4 categories. Now, once again, I'm just gonna pause. I'm just gonna quit while I'm ahead. There are many different ways that you can go about stepping into your authentic self. There are many different methods that you can find online. This is just how I've been able to navigate it. And I'm very confident that I'm in my most authentic self these days. So this is what's worked for me. Disclaimer. Is it blurry? No, right? Is it blurry? Is it blurry? No, it's not blurry. I just realized you can see my my stuffed animal in the background, but I'm not ashamed of that. Her name is Raja and I love her. So, in order to fully embrace all of my layers, I break myself down, and I think that we all can be broken down into 4 categories. Our higher selves, our inner children, our sexual selves, and our shadow selves. So in this video, I'm gonna kind of break down each of those categories, what they look like, how you can work on healing them and embracing them, because there's no layer to ourselves that we should be spending less time with or spending more time with. They all need each other in order to survive. You can't confidently step into your sexual self without being comfortable with your inner child, and you can't really know what it feels like to be in the shoes of your higher self without knowing what it feels like to be in the shoes of your shadow self. In order to have one, you kind of have to have the other, and you have to give all of them their due time and due attention. So yeah, I never know how to finish sentences. That's a thing that I should work on. So in my email newsletter, like I mentioned earlier, I'll definitely be sending out different affirmations and different journaling prompts that you can use to work on each of these layers. So if you want those, join the list. But if not, these are just going to be kind of like surface level ways that you can fully step into yourself. I don't know. Okay. The first layer of you that I want to address would be your higher self. So this is definitely working with like third eye, crown chakra energy, but your higher self is, it's the you that you consult when you're sort of like setting the intention or trying to figure out, you know, which decision to make, which route to take in life. It's the self that operates fully from soul and not at all from ego. So when you want to step into your higher self, you definitely want to make sure that you're operating from your heart and from your soul and not from your ego. And a way to quiet down your ego and make sure that that's happening is by upkeeping your spiritual maintenance. And that's whatever it looks like for you. If you're into meditation, if you're into sound healing, yoga, tai chi, any mindful practice, definitely journaling. But also if you don't consider yourself to be that much of a spiritual person yet, there's definitely something that you do that puts you in a state where you are operating in the presence, and when you're operating from soul and not ego, whether that's a sport that you play or a form of creation that you like to partake in, like pottery or drawing, whatever puts you in that state of autopilot is where you're going to be most connected with your higher self, because you're not thinking from an ego level or an egoic viewpoint. You're just kind of doing and being and existing. In order to fully take care of and step into your higher self and be confident in your higher self, you have to honor your soul's path. So if you haven't been lucky enough to figure out what it is that your life's purpose is, definitely hone in on, or just at least set the intention that that is what you want the universe to provide for you. And it will, for sure. But whatever your soul wants you to do, whatever you feel your mission is on this planet, definitely prioritize that. A lot of us can get stuck in like dead-end jobs or roles in society that we didn't really feel like playing and we didn't really sign up to play. We even make these purposes our side hustles or our side hobbies, which is also fine, but you just want to make sure that you're honoring what you are put on this earth to do, because when you're doing what is of service and what makes you feel the most connected to your authentic self, you'll fully be in your higher self, for sure. You'll feel it. And you want to make sure that you are avoiding energy drainers when you are working with or taking care of your higher self. Energy drainers can come in the form of people and friends, and you know exactly who it is, and they can even be family members, and that's the tea. But you want to make sure that you're avoiding people that make you feel drained after you hang out with them, that take more out of you than they give. But also energy drainers can come in the forms of habits or cycles that you really need to cut, whether that's going to sleep way past when your body wants to rest, an addiction that you want to break, or just keeping a messy room or a messy environment. Whatever it looks like for you that makes you feel depleted and doesn't make you feel light and airy and at a high vibration, fix that. And like I said, this layer of you is definitely connected to your crown and your third eye chakra. So if you work with color healing, which I'll do a video on as well, you definitely want to wear more like purple and indigo to tap into that energy. Also, as far as crystals go, I know amethyst is really good for connecting to your higher self, as well as like clear quartz, moon quartz. I have moon quartz on now. Okay, queen. The next layer that I want to talk about is your inner child, which I want to preface this by saying that I have an entire video on how to heal your inner child, which you can check out. But your inner child is definitely tied into your solar plexus and a bit of your heart chakra as well. So to work with this, you just want to like step into your most confident self, and you do that by doing what made you happy as a kid. Revisit hobbies that made you feel happy when you weren't bound by expectation and by deadlines and stuff like that. Like whatever just brought you authentic joy just to do it, you should definitely do that again, and that'll really connect you with your inner child. Whatever creative expression that means for you. I ain't never heard of that kind of ambulance siren before. Yeah. Oof, child. Whatever creative endeavor you were into as a child is definitely gonna help you tap into that energy again. And also just incorporating, and not even incorporating, I'm gonna go as far as to say prioritizing play again. I think stepping into your adult self sort of leans into this notion that like working is more important than playing, and in order to play you have to make sure that you've gotten all your work done. And there's definitely a balance, so make sure that you are playing as much as you can, resting as much as you can, and not placing so much value on your productivity as opposed to placing value on what makes you happy and what feels light and free. So honor your inner child, you know, explore, be curious about things, learn again. You know, honoring, in a recap, honoring your higher self is really taking in the spiritual maintenance and making sure that you are operating from your heart source and being as good as you possibly can and as kind as you possibly can. And being an only child and being an inner child is just playing as much as you can and really being confident in knowing that it doesn't matter how people perceive or receive the things that you put out as much as it matters how you feel when you put them out. If you felt good about drawing that painting or making that song or writing that poem, that is all that matters. And yeah, and expressing yourself creatively. And also watching Roly Poly Oly. I feel like that's great inner child healing. It's what I did all morning. The next layer of your being that you want to make sure you are maintaining in order to fully step into your authentic self would be your sexual self. So this layer is definitely connected to your sacral chakra as well as your root chakra, I would say. This is I'm gonna preface this by saying that we all have our masculine and feminine sides that we should be taking care of, both equally. But I do know more about this for women than I do for men. So if you're a man, maybe you have an inner goddess that you want to step into, and I'm all for that. It might look a little bit different for you, but in a nutshell, stepping into your sexual self means expressing your sexuality in a way that is authentic to you and that is free of shame and free of restriction. I think a lot of times we don't even realize that we have to work on this part of ourselves until we realize that we have to work on this part of ourselves. But honor your body, honor your inner goddess, honor your inner god. Tries to cater to male demographic, and express your sexuality in whichever way you see fit. If that's with other people, if that's with multiple people, or if that's just by yourself, just try to eliminate all shame in that, in whatever way that looks for you. Even if you identify as more of an asexual person, and that means that you don't want to express your sexuality, that in itself is you expressing your sexuality. So make sure that you're honoring your inner urges, what your ovaries and root lock are telling you that they want. But a huge way to make sure that you are taking care of your sexual self is to prioritize your self-care routine. Obviously, self-care goes layers deep, and internal self-care is very important, but external self-care is really important as well. You want to make sure that you're always showing up as your most confident and most put together self in whichever way that looks like for you, whichever way grooming looks like for you. So if you feel like your sexiest self when you're wearing a certain perfume or jewelry or hoop earrings or mascara, or when you don't shave or when you do shave, whatever that means, make sure that you are always stepping in and showing up in that version of yourself. The saying, fake it until you make it, I know it's like problematic in some ways, but the notion that like if you feel confident in whatever things that you do to make yourself feel confident, people will just see that confidence radiating out of you and just believe you. That's totally true. For women, a big part of healing your sexual self is womb healing. It's something that I'm actually doing right now, so once I complete the process, I'll definitely share more about what I've done to do it. But there's a lot of different methods and you can totally Google, but womb healing, clearing out the energy that is stored in your ovaries and in, you know, your sexual reproductive system is really important in taking back the power that lies within your sexual self. And that's really what this whole thing is about. When you step into your sexual self, you're stepping back into your power as a man, as a woman, whatever it is that you want to express yourself as. Yeah, you want to make sure that you're doing it at your most confidently, and like I said, free of shame. Okay, that was, I don't know why I felt the need to do that. Okay, and lastly, but certainly not leastly, we have to talk about our shadow self. Now, let's get into this tea, honey. When we talk about our shadow selves, I think that there's like this notion that we need to like do shadow healing and like hurry up and figure out what our problems are so that we can like heal them and step into our higher selves. But the truth of the matter is that your shadow self is always going to be a part of you. So it's important not to think that your shadow self is something that's going to go away or something that's broken that needs to be fixed, but rather a part of you that needs to be listened to and needs to be nurtured and needs to be, above all else, embraced. The first step when you are stepping in and working with your shadow self is releasing the guilt or the shame of having a shadow self. This notion that like being in alignment is something that is butterflies and rainbows 24/7 is just not sustainable. Part of what makes you human is having a shadow self, is having darker emotions, is feeling the moon side of things. It's feeling anxiety and depression. That's just kind of how this thing goes, but it's a matter of how you react to it. Do you let it define you, or do you listen to it, work through it, figure out the roots of it, and heal it in a loving way? And when it rises, that's fine. You know, rather to suppress it and, you know, numb it, you want to feel your darker emotions and you want to let them move through you like you would a child throwing a tantrum. You know, do you automatically say, Timmy, get up, I swear to God? Or do you say, you know what, Timmy, I'm gonna let that ride out, because you are expressing an emotion right now, and when you're done, it'll be over. And that's just kind of what it's like dealing with your shadow self. You also want to keep in mind that your shadow self is telling you things that need to be addressed within you. There's a root cause to everything, and whenever you feel a certain emotion that doesn't feel the best, it's indicative of something else that's going on. Part of being confident in your most authentic self is recognizing what needs healing, and that's what your shadow self is going to show you. So you want to make sure that you pour as much love as you can into your shadow self and know that he or she is just there to show you what needs to be nurtured a bit. And it's a part of you, you know. It's okay to embrace the dark. It's okay to sulk a little bit. It's okay to have a good cry and release. It is a part of your human experience, and it's a part of all of the layers of you. You know, like I said, you would not know what it feels like to be in your most aligned and higher self if you don't know what it feels like to go through the mud of your emotions and feel the darker parts of yourself. And you can heal a lot of your traumas and whatever your shadow self wants you to focus on through journaling, through therapy, through whatever outlet makes you feel like you are addressing what needs to be addressed. You know better than anyone else what you need in order to really step into healing. Your shadow self is your friend. Your shadow self is you. You shouldn't identify as your shadow self, but you should definitely identify with someone who has a shadow self, because we all do, even So yeah, so like I said, the human experience is very complicated, and there are many different ways to navigate stepping into our best and authentic, confident selves, but I found that breaking myself down into these 4 categories and making sure that each and every category are given their due attention, their due diligence, that I'm pouring love into each and every one of them, I found that that's led me to really being my most authentic self, a version of me that has no shame in any of my layers or if any of my moods or emotions. You know, some days I wake up feeling like my inner child and I honor that. Some days I wake up feeling like my shadow self and I honor that. Some days I wake up feeling like my inner goddess and I honor that. And some days I wake up like my higher self, and I want to make videos like this when I'm feeling that way, because I think that that's part of my purpose. Really make sure that you are prioritizing taking care of each layer of you, like I said, watering it, nourishing it. And you'll find that the more that you become comfortable with every side of you and accept the fact that you're a multi-dimensional and multi-layered being, the more confident you'll just be in the human that you are, and that has a lot of power, and that'll let you operate from an authentic space. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope, if anything, I shed light on maybe something you didn't think about before. Like I said, there's many journaling prompts, there's many affirmations that you can work on, and you can reach out to me personally if you want more on that, or join the mailing list. You are doing your best. I don't know you, but I already know that you should clean up your inner dialogue and be kinder to yourself, and know that whichever version of yourself that you wake up feeling, that's perfect. Everything is working out exactly as it's meant to be. And as long as you commit to it and you prioritize it, you will always wake up a better version of yourself today than you did yesterday. And if you feel like you're falling back or you're undoing any hard work that you've done, it's not true, because no path towards any healing is linear, and that's on period. And yeah, so like I said, feel free to subscribe if you want more videos like this. Feel free to follow me on social media. Feel free to visit my website. And I think that's all I have to promote. So I'm gonna go and eat some dark chocolate, because that is part of sacral chakra healing. I don't know if you guys need that, but yeah. Okay, bye.